All right. Good day and welcome to NP Financials monthly master class. Good afternoon, Venkatesh. How are you?
Good afternoon, Partha. I'm good. Yourself?
Fantastic. And Arindam says that's the number used for ATM cash stack. Cash stack determination. Yeah, my goodness, sir. Okay, very good. So this is the comment from Arindam, and that's the number. Yeah, so I'll show you. It's on the chat. You can see that's the number used for ATM cash tag. We are talking about the number 2520, which is divisible from by each of the number from 1 to 10. And this is if you multiply 7 by 30, 7 days a week, 30 days a 30 days a month, and 12 months a year. So 7 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 12 is 2520. Okay, this is, I don't know whether this is a Fibonacci number, but Ben will make comment that. But anyway, welcome to NP Financials monthly master class, and good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Many of us are in different places, and we have the privilege of having renowned psychologist Kerry Brown with us. Valinder, admit. All right. Good afternoon, Valinder. How are you? So the problem with Google Meet or any other, even Zoom or anything, when you actually join, by default the mic goes in mute condition. The mic
Yes.
comes in mute condition, so you have to unmute. So Balinder unmuted, and he said, "I am all good, Balinder." We have just started. All right. So I was just telling that we have within us renowned psychologist Curry Brown, partner of Ben Perkins, who is with us for some time now. And Kerry will be. I'm extremely eager with all of you to listen to Kerry. We will not be talking today much. I'll be talking maybe whatever I can talk, and my talk is only is a interaction between you. I want to learn more from you by hearing more from you. The more you talk, the more I learn, and then we'll be all eager to hear from Kerry, and she will be talking about our brain, our psychological aspect in trading. I don't want to say anything, but we'll all be learning a lot from her. So she'll be talking from 4 to 5. So we have 1 hour of trading talk, and then another 1 hour of for trading psychology talk, which is extremely important. So we'll start with welcome, Kerry, and thank you so very much for taking your time. Thank you all, but special thanks to Kerry Brown. We'll start with general financial product advice warning, as you all always do. NP Financials Pty Limited advises all service recipients of the following. This information is provided only on general financial product advice basis. This is only educational in nature. Trading securities, derivatives, CFDs, foreign exchange contracts can be risky and is not suitable for all. No information received from NP Financials shall be considered as a financial trading recommendation. I'll give you 10 more seconds to go through it, and then when you are done, let me know.
Well done.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll take this off.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And please ask all your question either unmuting yourself or in a chat box here, or yeah, I would not probably encourage you to write email now. Email time is over, and I requested you to send us email. And Mauricio, we got one email from Mauricio, and we'll be answering his question first, and then after that we'll do the market analysis, and then we'll all listen to Kerry. Kerry would be Kerry. Now you can of course take rest, and then we can invite you at 4 o'clock. But if you want to with us, we'd be delighted, so that we all you can point out whether we going wrong or correct. The first question of coming from Mauricio is it possible to have a discussion around algo trading? Of course, we'll be doing it, and we have a masterpiece in Marty Stewart. He has done I think more than 5-6 hours in algo. I have done 3-4 years. After that I gave up because I did not like it, but I can initiate, and then Marty can contribute. Advantages, disadvantages, of course we can talk about it, and then I'll break it down. So Mauricio and Sri, every one of you are having tremendous gifted gift. You are all gifted in what is that gift? You are all gifted in punching 3-4 questions in one. All right, so that is the gift you all have. But I'll break it down, and then I'll answer one by one. So is it possible to have a discussion around first question? Is it possible to have a discussion around algorithmic trading? Absolutely. I'll initially try to contribute some of my experience, because I can only talk from my experience and whatever I've seen in the algo world, and then I'll request Marty to talk his experience, and of course we'll be showing you what NP Financials does from the algorithmic point of view. All right. So we have two kinds of trading. One is discretionary, one is non-discretionary. Non What is discretionary? In which we have a system, obviously, which are being taught in our instruction based discussion in modules and units, as you know, in forex, in commodity, in shares, in bonds and indices. You all know that. So but what is the discretion here? The discretion here is, even if there is a signal to go long or short, for example, if you see this euro AUD October, I know euro AUD Girija's favorite, right, Girija?
Always. USD JPY is just showing the steep, and I'm just loving it right now.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And, yeah, this is the USD JPY in front of you, the stiffness of the fall. All right. So the discretionary is when we are using our brain, if we have one, and of course we have one, and then taking a trade or not taking a trade. So we are playing an important role when the system presents itself. Like everything discretionary, non-discretionary are now is computer based. So whenever our own proprietary signal is generating to go long here on a hook entry, or here on a normal entry, then we go long. But this also telling us possibly we can go long on when this already the score is 6 or 4 out of 6. But this one we are seeing there is a divergence here from the black line, those of you who have already covered this. So in that case, what we will do, we will use that discretion. Discretion means we are using our brain to not to take this one, because we don't know the right hand side, but at this point there is already a divergence which already taken place at this point. Those of you who are already, I know Valinder is very big on divergence, right Valinder? Am I correct? This is the divergence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir, it is.
Thank you very much for. And when we see this divergence, we use our discretion not to take this trade. Yeah. So when we see this double top here, this is a swing high and that is a swing high, we do not take this. This is a little bit of discretion. This is all about discretion. And non-discretion is when computer, we have actually analyzed this, we have programmed this, and then computer is taking the trades in our behalf. So if we have programmed for the compiler or the computer to understand that the risk to reward ratio RR, then possibly the computer will not take otherwise the simple definition of discretion, difference between discretion and non-discretion is, discretion is run by a trader with his brain and his knowledge of technical analysis and fundamental, and non-discretion is run by a computer in which the program is all fed by the human. The problem with advantage disadvantage, both are having pros and cons. The second question, both are having pros and cons. The disadvantage of non-discretionary trading, which is computer based, is the limitation, I would say possibly the limitation of non-discretionary trading is, the limitation is on the people, on the person who is writing that program. The knowledge of that person is the limitation of discretion. Otherwise, what is the advantage of non-discretion? If that is the limitation, then what is the advantage of non-discretion? The advantage of non-discretion is what Kerry would contribute a lot today, is it takes away the emotions out of the equation. What are the emotions? Greed, fear, control, discipline. My goodness, yeah, Kerry will probably tell more of. But those, so it takes out of that equation entirely, because computer is trading. But believe me, I have seen thousands of discretion and non-discretion traders in my last 13 years. I'm a discretionary trader. I love my analysis always, as you probably know. But I tried my non-discretionary also. But I have seen my non-discretionary friends are more hooked up to the computer than we do, because they are always afraid that something is going to happen which they have not taken care of. So that is the fear. Fear is real, and that is the fear why they are hooked onto the computer more than us. We may be less hooked to the computer because we have backtested this for 7 years for all the instruments, for all the asset classes, and we know that probably with 77% or 67% or 73% we are successful. So we are more take it and forget it rather than a non-discretionary fellow who actually always doubting his skills, because that is the big limitation. So I talked about the discussion I initiated and the advantages and disadvantages. Before I go to the next questions, did I answer your questions, Mauritius? Mauricio?
Yes, yes, Partha, that makes sense.
Fantastic. Very
Yep.
nice. Excellent. Third question. Is anyone in our community using this approach? I did this for 3 years and then I got fed up and then left. I think Marty is doing it now. Right, Marty? Would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while now, on and off for about 6 years, I suppose. Um, I think what I could add with advantages would be if you were getting into high frequency. Well, we can't do high frequency, but smaller time frame trading. So
Yeah, okay.
1 minute, 5 minute, it starts becoming advantageous there. But as well as that, I've had issues with. So I've hooked up what's called a VPS
Virtual,
to my trading account,
virtual
virtual
server. Yeah.
server. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So I've had one account running 80 charts. Now each chart was running a more of a quantitative model, so not a quality trade setup, but more trading numbers was what I was looking for. So getting a high volume of trades.
Yep.
Now, on one weekend, I done a restart on my VPS server. This server had taken all my values and presets back to a original value, which I was unaware of, because each chart had different series of numbers for it. When trading started the next week, my algos kept spitting orders into the markets, but the models weren't registering the trades that they had already thrown into the market, so they're already running orders. So it wasn't closing out any trades, but it just kept spitting trades out into the market. And with such a high volume of trades, it destroyed a very big account in 3 days. So it's just technical issues. Lots of technical issues are a major disadvantage with algorithmic trading.
Yep.
But one thing I'd like to show right now, if I could present my screen, Partha.
Yes, please.
I just made one this morning, actually. And what we can see is so this is, can you see my screen?
It's coming. Yeah.
So this is results. This trade's nearly each day, or close to each day. So over a 10-year period, spits out results showing a graph like this. But what we have to understand is this is the quality of the data which you're going through. So this is different data you are testing to what your actual trading platform might be. So you have to take all these results with a grain of sand. And there are other things you can look at with what's called Monte Carlo testing and such like this, which helps you to understand better the amount of shorts that you win versus your long positions, and if you have consecutive losses in a row, how that's going to damage your maximum drawdown and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So that's about all I'd like to show for now, Partha.
Brilliant.
All I've got to add.
I have one question on that. Everyone can ask questions, but
Mhm.
I take the privilege to answer ask the first question. This is a brilliant stuff I can see in front of you, in front of us. Relative drawdown is 1.17%. That is fabulous. When we allow, I wanted to show Marty Stewart's photo, and this is Marty Stewart. Yeah, he is the senior trader and responsible for everything except so everything, mostly the Elliott wave mapping of market mapping and Discord and everything. So one question I had is that what you showed me just now is 1.17 relative percentage. That is fabulous for our audition type testing. We allow 4 to 5%. Is that correct, Marty?
Yes, that's correct. So this is, I've tried to design what's called a robust model, I should say. So this model, I've got it working on a few pairs, but it's also showing lots of promise on commodities and indices as well. So that's one thing I'm aiming to do instead of just trying to develop one model for one single currency pair, which some people like to diversify that way, having one currency pair and throwing 10 or 12 different models onto that to diversify that way.
Any question to Marty?
I've just got a question. Looks great, Marty. Have you ever heard anyone use, say, machine learning? So actually, the system learning every day from the trades you've done. So it's more like an AI type of algo. Have you ever
Yes,
seen or heard it? Or yep.
I've seen the pain it takes to be able to do anything with any real value at all to it, but it can be done. I have seen it.
Yeah, the problem of machine learning, again, it depends on who is helping the machine to learn and how it is coded. Again, if it is coded wrongly, as Marty said, a lot of pain. Yeah, it has to go through a lot of pain. But machine learning is a buzzword, and Mauricio himself is a data scientist. He plays with a lot of data in medicine practice, right, Mauricio?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, Partha. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the individuals writing the algorithms, and also their understanding of how the market works. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
basically essentials.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. I think that's the bottom
right.
line. Yeah, absolutely, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Fantastic, very good. Thank you, Marty. Thanks a ton for that.
Thank you, Marty.
And then I'll share my screen again, and I'll go to the next question. Is it profitable? Yeah. So, in my opinion, can you see my screen?
We can see
Yep.
Google Meet. Oh, we can
Yep.
see the chart now. Yep.
Yeah. So next question, is it profitable? I would say the profit trading is a business, as we always say. Trading is a business, and it's a high probability business. Yeah, it's a high probability business. That means what? It can be as lucrative as possible, but it can be as challenging as possible. Why? Why challenging? Because trading is within us, me versus me when I'm in front of the computer, you versus you when you are in front of the computer. So it's a lot of psychological aspect which we listen to carry today. Yes, it definitely can be possible. I know many trading organization who actually trading non-discretionary and are quite profitable, but it needs a lot of manpower, I think. And Marty said all of VPS and all of technological changes, challenges which can come through. But the short question to that answer is definitely it is possible to make it profitable. Yeah, that's definitely. And what platforms are available for development of code? What services does NP Financials provide in this subject area? All right, so we'll club these questions. Platforms to speak with to platforms are either MT4, or you can do a pure deal or a pro real time. So for Marty, what he actually showed us is was MT4, right, Marty, or MT5? MT4, right?
MT4 actually shows this backtesting data.
Yeah.
MT5 is pretty terrible. There's not much history in it. I would avoid it myself.
So Marty already answered his 50% of that question. Platform MT4, MetaTrader 4. Avoid MT5 because it's although it is there for 2-3 years, but it's still there developing. And one problem with MetaTrader 5 or MT5 from MetaQuote, MT4. By the way, MT4 is the world's largest and most popular platform, and very easy one. At the same time, it is free. That's why we all the brokers are using Go Market 8 cap. All of them are using it. And the other one, MT5 is not well developed, as Marty said, because of the lack of previous data into it. And we have horrible time trying MT5, much personally, myself and Marty also. And then what other platform is the Pure Deal, which is in front of you, which is the pro real time here, which is the pure deal in front of us. Last question would be what services. Yes, we, because we have believe, because we do strongly believe that our own proprietary indication, which is there in commodity trading or forex trading or share trading, all these ones are all computer generated programs and codes, but we take our own decision. But to help traders like you, Marty, and Valinder has started, and most of you would be structured and special. Possibly I would take some time to congratulate, but I heard from Arindam that he is a successful businessman in India, and he is thinking to be go for full time on trading. How good is that? That's brilliant. And why you can take that step? Because of this fact that you don't have to invest $1 million to trade $1 million, and 1% of $1 million is 10,000. So even if you do 1% of this $1 million at the cost of $6,300 only from us, so that your risk is only 6,300. But if you can pass our audition on our risk parameters and do only 1%, that is 10,000 of this big number. Yeah, so that's fantastic. And coming back to our offerings on the non-discretionary space is, yes, we are very big on that. And then we have the custom code development, which Marty is completing, almost in the verge of completion. And you heard Marty that he is in 6 years in coding, but at the same time he is getting some traction, some benefits from our custom code development. We develop from the scratch, as you all know. We develop from the scratch any subject, whether it is cryptocurrency or anything else. We develop it from, like Venkatesh is especially after completing the share trading, he is into bond trading. So similarly, for the custom code development, we have six modules in front of you, and each, if I randomly select one module, it will be presented with three units. So modules, units, and all those things are there, and we try to give you A to Z of your custom code development programming knowledge required. And after you do this, we'll encourage you to go for our market scanning software. Market scanning, I think it's there in the module, this is the one, market scanning, in which you write your, this is the proficiency, you develop your proficiency in custom coding. And that is the last question from our issue as of now. And after that, you can go to the market scanning system. If you do a market scanning system, you can easily, within fractions of a second, you can search 5,000 shares, 5,000 or 10,000 shares. For 10,000 it will take some time, maybe 3 seconds. 500 maybe fractions of a second, and tell you the top moving shares. Like we sometimes we take that opportunity and actually share our knowledge of that scanning system in here. These are all like Bash Oil Limited on 16th of November. Our system to that scanning system which I'm talking about, our scanning system told us here to possibly that this fellow is moving. And look at the cup formation. We have a cup and handle formation. Although we are not very do not teach that cup and handle, but many of the pattern traders actually do cup and handle parameters from 2000 2007 to 2022. This is the cup. Lot of sweets, lot of sugar. My goodness. And then this is the handle formation not yet formed. So our scanning software through our discretionary, through our non-discretionary way of trading, tells us that this something is happening here, something is happening here. So if you catch the and it will come at 10 10 10 10 10, because this type of small small value items like zero, anything below point 0.1, penny stock tech opens at around 10:10 of Melbourne time, Sydney time. Market opens at 9:50. BHP, that is CFD, VHP Rio Tinto opens at 10, and this small cap opens at 10:10. So at around 10:10, 10 minutes past 10, it will tell us that it is going to move, going, yeah, moving, and sometimes like that, some things like that. And if you go to our I think if you are following that market scanning system, so if I go to our things, shares, yeah, shares. I had two stocks recently picked up. I have two stocks recently picked up from our market scanning system. I think one is the who can remember that, Valinder, anyone? Or I think WA1. I talk about that WA1, or I'll find out in a minute. So if I go to file, load workspace, and then share trading, if I go to share trading, and that last two shares which we have recently picked up from our scanning, and we are possibly doing very good, not possibly, actually doing very good, like the WA1. One is the WA1, and look at this fellow WA1. It came around, let me bring that chart in front of you. So that is 1 day. Yeah, so this is the chart of WA1, and we got the notification from our screening system on this date. So our scanning system tells us, the one which I showed you, market scanning system in front of you, this one, market scanning system. Look how it is exactly showing the market. 0.28, around 0.28, 0.3 on 26th of October. The scanning system is telling us something happening. These are very fast, very fast. If I go to 26th of October in a 10 minutes chart, 20 or 30 minutes or 15 minutes chart, remember 26th of October. So I go to 26th of October, market opens at 10:10. 26th of October. Oh my God, it is too. I have to go so far. Oh God. All right, let me bring it to 1 hour. So I'll not spend much time on that. So 1 hour, 1 hour. So I just wanted to show you. That on what happened on that 26th October from 10:10 to 11:10. All right, so this is the one. Love it. Yeah, so this is the one happening on the first hour, and this scanning system, this fellow is shouting something happening, and it is plotting here where 10% up, 20% up, 30% up, 40% up, 50% up, very fast. And Ben is having this experience, right, Ben, in your small cap?
Yeah, I am a bit.
Yeah, you are aware of it. Look at the move now. My goodness, nuclear bomb. Look at this. So it goes 100% very from here, very quick. That's why I said. So from here, if you buy here, if you went for buy here, you wait for 1 hour. It can be a false move because breakouts are 70% fake outs. But if you wait for our 4 touch close above a high taken out from here, and wait for 2-3 days till this point, at least this 491%. Yeah, so that is the advantage of our market scanning system. That is the contribution into this subject. Do we have we answered your question, Mauricio, so far?
Yeah, definitely you have, and I'm quite interested. So I guess it's, I mean, we are trading, but I'm thinking the banks would have the same type of systems, don't they?
It
Or the
depends.
big institutions, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends on who is the CEO of the bank.
Right. Okay.
is he having some experience from his gut feeling, or
Yeah,
he is having experience from his. Yeah, if you have to tell me, if I have to tell you that George Soros and then George Soros and Warren Buffett, they are not non-discretionary, they are discretionary investors, correct? So
right.
if we go to a little more above the our level, but in the top level also, Simon, right, Marty? Simon is a billion-dollar non-discretionary trader,
Mm,
and his hedge fund is number one in the world in non-discretionary trading. Correct, Marty?
correct.
All right, very good. Now the second question is, can we also not the second, I think fifth question. Can we also discuss trading times for the Christmas and New Year? This is the this is a very common question comes into play when Christmas and New Year. I'll answer that question. So I'll go to a popular one. Maybe let's go to Aussie USD. Where is my futures? F for anyone finding futures? Okay, let me
Left.
left.
Yeah, the left. Down, down. One more.
Ah, my goodness, I'm going futures blind, I think. All right, not all right. So I go to the Aussie. All right, I can make this. Okay, the best way to know answer your own question your way. So let me help you to do that. All right. So what you have to do, Mauricio? Mauricio is not asking this question for himself. Every one of us can learn from this question. That is the beauty of question and answer sessions in our master class. Yeah. So the best way to answer this question on Christmas and New Year is just to do last 12 years in within 12 within only 12 minutes. You can do 12 years or 24 years within 10 minutes. I'll show you how to do that. So just go each year in the month of December and see what is the average. So if I help you on that, I'll just put a indicator in the form of average true range, ATR. We all know that, yeah. Average true range, which is the division between high and low, so that is roughly range. So if you see the range of where did it go? Did I do it or not do it? Okay, not do it. So ATR, average true range, and then add average true range. No, this is not the one. Okay, go add get ATR. Add average to range and take this average to range. Yeah, this is 200 period average. Generally they say 14, you can do 14. So the average true range which you can see, I'll do a little bit of this thing and then do the style as a histogram. Yeah, so average true range as of now for Aussie dollar in a monthly chart is what? Can you tell me? It's 365 points, correct?
Yep.
Yep. And the average true range for last if you take the average, it is generally 330, isn't it? It goes up to 384 as in November, but it came down to also 269 just before the COVID, I presume, yeah, during the COVID. What am I talking about? Am I talking sense? I think this one, average true range is this one, 1178. ATR is 364. So if you, the answer to that question is, go and see the December ATR and compare with the average. That is too much of yeah. So this is the average true range. This is the average true range. If I do a full line, this is the average true range. Now if I take a moving average out of that, so moving average of that ATR, see this apply to ATR, moving average of that ATR. If I bring that 5 period moving average, you can see that on this month the average true range has gone above the moving average, isn't it? So that means that this month April can be a very high volatile market on this month, April. Similarly, if you go to December 2021 and see, this is the average true range here is 337 for 2021. Average true range for December 2020 is 355. So far so good, Mauricio?
Yep, that's it. Yeah, got it.
Got it. And see this one, January is
Ah,
only this much. Yeah, very
yep,
small bar, isn't it? Very small bar.
yep,
So to answer your question, if you do this for 5 minutes, you will understand that possibly December is not a bad month like this one. See, 2019.
yep.
Yeah, 2019 December, 2020 December, 2021 December. So all of them are having quite a substantial bar, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So to answer that question is, it can be very good during that period. Why? I'll tell you why also. Why? Because most of them are in holiday mood, and banks are mostly also in holiday mood or are closed in different countries. Like, so what does it mean? It means that when the banks are not playing, this game of forex, then the smaller operators like us, or big, or even George Soros, or kind of mutual fund hedge fund managers, can actually take advantage of that closure of the bank to move the market in one or the other direction. Am I correct?
Yes, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So that is why, look at this
Mm,
December 2018. Look at this fellow.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, so I trade very heavily. That's why I'm not taking a break on this. Although I'm taking a break next year. Okay, did I answer all your questions?
Yes, you did. Thank you, brother.
All right, anyone having any other questions, or any question on the best of this discussion already? Otherwise we'll go one by one on the instrument. So let's you think about your questions. Let me take this opportunity to show some of the movements which is happening in the marketplace for the presently, as of now, and for the coming future. All right. So this is Girija February number 1, which is USD JPY in front of you, and she said about the stiffness of the fall. Look at this fall, and look at this 150 rejection. 150, or if I take the decimal out, and draw a line at around 15,000. I'm taking the decimal out, so I'm making 15,000. If I take the decimal out, is this 15,000? Yes, no?
Yes.
Very good. Look at the Kraken snapback at around 15,000. Magic. So everyone saw that magic on 15,000 Kraken snapback on a daily chart on USD JPY. And from that day, Girija has fallen in love with USD JPY. Right, Girija?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it had
Sorry, I
a
was just like on mute.
yeah, not a problem. So this is the fall, which is a big number, 15,000. And if we remember, actually, look at this fellow on USD JPY, and the interaction of 200 moving average on the weekly. I know Sri Utagi for sure is actually doing this week, taking advantage of the weekly 200 moving average. I also take a lot of weekly moving 200 moving average, and look at this from this point, March 2021, till this point, which is 20th of September. So that's a big consolidation along this level with only 2.97% from here to there. And once that is broken, this is the Ben is doing a fantastic stuff on this one, on the trend line and the consolidation. I'll show you a little bit of what Ben is doing, but he has done a masterpiece, and then he can show all of us. But I'll just show you what Ben is doing, or the glimpse of that. And it is not exactly what he's doing, but it's kind of what he's doing. Look at this fellow, and I'm in front of you. I have drawn some line. I have joined only the swing high to swing high. Can you see that? And this is pretty simple. This is just, if you can also join just by joining the swing high to swing high, provided there is a swing low in between. So this is a swing high, this is a swing high, swing low in between. This is a swing high, this is a swing high, swing low in between. So in addition to this, what Ben is doing in patterns, in his one day chart patterns. Like for me, this is a pattern, and break of this pattern is a trade. For me, this is a pattern and break of this pattern is trade. Probably what Ben is doing, he showed me for in his last two classes, he's joining this line as I have done, and then extending this and taking a trade here, and he's doing every time, and he's getting tremendous success. Ben, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, such success. I'm a little worried it's fake, but yeah, it's going well.
That's probably Kerry Brown would explain as the fear of success. Yeah, fear of, we not only suffer from fear of failure, we also suffer from fear of success. Yeah. All right. So that is what USD JPY is doing. Any question on USD JPY? It broke the 200 and possibly going to next level, maybe 125. Who knows?
Yes, Partha.
Yeah, Marty.
Your, your target of 124.13.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
How did you do that? The Marty is asking a question at 120. It's pretty simple. 124.13. How did I get it? As we know that this type of things Ben is doing. This type of things Ben is doing. I tried to copy him. Right, Ben? All right. So now what we did is we go to a yearly chart, and then Marty's question is, how do I get 124.13 as the target? So plain and simple, go to an yearly chart, and then and then see what is the immediate swing high which is coming in place. So this is the swing high, which is 125.85. This can be one target, and this can be one target if it is going there, or otherwise this can be another one which these traders can actually come here, and then I do yeah. So 135.20 it has broken. See, 135.20 it has broken. So I'll turn this as of now as red, and the next green here, the support, just the swing high and swing low of the month of the yearly. So that is the 125.85 coming from yearly. That can be a support. And then if you go to the quarterly, you get same thing, which is from here, this 125.85. Then go to the monthly. You don't have to draw money lines, just two lines, so this 120, he asked about a question of 124.13, which is from the yearly line, and again the next one is this one, 125.85. So if probably that's how I get the 124.13. Marty, did I answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. That's good.
So that's what yen is doing quickly, and then we'll go to Aussie dollar. If you have any question on anyone like yen or Aussie dollar or anything, please ask. Aussie dollar is trying to do what here? You tell me.
Crack and snapback.
Crack and snapback. Ben is right on. So there's a crack and snapback possible happening on a Aussie dollar in 200. In 200, what is that? 200 period moving average. 200 period moving average. Red on red. I cannot see, so I'll make it as yellow. Fantastic, fabulous. Alright, so this is a crack and snapback on the moving average. If you right click on the moving average and go to settings and then make it as level, you see the 200 at 67.94, 67.94.5, and the yesterday close was 67.94.4. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is what the non-discretionary trading comes into play. The non-discretionary trading softwares or the robots or the bots or algo, they have thousands of names, are all tried to close the trade below the moving average, and then they were successful. They did it by how much? How many pips? If the moving average is 67.94.5 and the close is 97.94.4, so what is the difference? Anyone?
One pip it?
It is 1/10 of a pip. Because pip percentage in point is 100 by 100, that is 0.0001, but here it is 0.00001, so 1/10 of a pip. How precise is it, Mauricio, data scientist?
Oh, that's precise.
Absolutely precise, isn't it?
Can't get any. Yeah.
Can't get any closer. Yeah. So my comment on the of course you can have your own observation, and you please share with us. So although the head and shoulder target is 68.72, which Girija is doing a lot on this 60, and Venkatesh, Wayne, Mauricio has all done here a lot of work on this, and 68.72 is the target, but it could not go up to that point, which is 68.45 is the highest, and if this low is taken out, our rule of 4 will tell us to go short. Okay, so that is the AUD USD in front of you. Any question on AUD USD or USD JPY or any other instrument or any other shares or commodities? Please ask. Okay, otherwise I'll just think that you are just sleeping or not interested, or you have understood everything. All right, which one is
Yeah,
that?
Partha, I'm interested in the ASX 200.
Fantastic, brilliant,
Just looking at maybe coming up against like two Fibonacci's,
brilliant,
coming from two swing highs.
fantastic. All right, so after this I'll go to Ben's question on ASX 200. Now sterling is one of my favorite, as you all know, and after the all-time low, oh god, who took this advantage of sterling? And one people, I think, who asked me that question? Gautam, right? Gautam, you asked me that question. Why should I go up to 1985 or 1997, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Partha.
What was your question, Gautam?
It was like, I mean, see, we are in 2022, and
Mm.
I mean, who would care that, the all-time low would be
Uh,
like, in 1984 or like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, what
mm,
could be the low?
mm,
I mean, we would be, I mean, as a novice trader, we would be just watching last 5 years, 10 years
mm,
performance and
mm,
draw the line, at incorrect place
mm,
probably,
mm.
and wouldn't actually know the when it's going to crack and snap back or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. But to answer, I will dare to answer that first challenging question. Who would care? I say the billion-dollar computer of Goldman Sachs would care. Do you think so? Because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
they do care. The computers, I'm little old here. I think I have used punch cards. Anyone have used punch card in computer programming, in basic Fortran, COBOL? Anyone? No one. So punch card, Arindam, you are, I think,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Arindam, yeah. We all use punch card
I've,
in.
I've done DOS, Partha. DOS.
Yeah,
And those
no.
cards used to be used for bus ticket afterwards.
Does it? My goodness. I remember writing a program in BASIC or COBOL or Fortran. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. I have to punch 25 or 50 cards. And I have to go to the mainframe computer to give it to the person there. Please print this and tell me that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Unbelievable. Alright, so from that day I know a little bit of computer. So that's why I say the Goldman Sachs trading computer would know that the low is 1.03. We are not Goldman Sachs, but we have a line called horizontal line here, and we would be joining here this line when we see this. And the advantage of that is, if I convert this into a daily chart, you'll be amazed to see what happened on that 1.0345, and this is the day when I was watching prices come in, and bang, you go. So it bounced from 1.0345, did a crack and snap back either in a 15 minutes or a 1 hour chart. I will not take much time, but I just want to show you, if you have taken a trade here, you are smiling with a big smile. 19% profit. Yep, this is not only one, the second one up before I go to the ASX. So just to conclude, the GBP here is, it did a lot of fight here on the crack and snapback. We gave a call here on our client arena to go long here. We are running that long trade, and then and the other one which I wanted to show you the power of that, I say Goldman Sachs line is the Hong Kong. After that I'll go to ASX. Hong Kong did a, yeah, Arindam is very fond of Hong Kong, HK50, and I actually on his motivation started doing Hong Kong, and I'm absolutely fabulously liking this one. Hong Kong did this one here on the 15,000 level. If I go to 1 year chart on Hong Kong, and then they have a thing called swing low on 2021, At this point, if you want to see what is that, you just type in display price. So that is 16,000, sweet 16,000, not 16, 16,000 number. And then they have 15,600 coming from a Fibonacci number, which is the percentage wise, it is the Fibonacci number, which is 78.6. But my favorite was somehow 15,000, because I love it. 15,000. So what I did, I draw big horizontal line at 15,000 and waited for that. 15,000, and there you go. So it came, it took the low of 2016, took the low means it went down 2011, and then I was observing this 78.6, it went down, and then 15,000, bang, you go from 2000, from 15,000. This is the one with a double bottom. Everyone agree that this is a double bottom and a crack and snap back?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic, Girija. So if you have taken the high of this one here, and then you are having a big smile of 22%. And what was the success on the GBP? How much percentage I told you? 18%. Yeah, 18 plus 22. That tells me that you are listening so well to me that you are forgetting everything. All right, 18 plus 22 is 40% in two instruments. All right, happy? So this is the power of these big numbers. Yeah, big numbers. Alright, so now I'll go to my Ben's request on now it is 4:05. I'll request Kerry to get ready. I'll be handing over to you, Kerry, at 4 o'clock. So then I'll go to ASX, as Ben said. And Ben, can you please repeat your question on the ASX?
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what your thoughts are on where it's going at the moment. Yeah, I've got like a 127 and a 786 Fibonacci all on the same levels, just straight across that second last candle. And yeah, curious of your thoughts.
Fantastic. So before I answer, who can tell me what is this bar here? Big green one. What is this bar here at NP Financial's terminology? At this
It's all buyers out bar at 78.6.
Wow, Valinder, 100 out of 100. So this bar, when I saw this bar at 7,400, big number, I would be happy with 7,500, because this is the 50% of 15,000, whatever it is. But the 78.6 Fibonacci was a monthly Fibonacci, was a 2-day Fibonacci, and 78.6 Ben has also drawn this Fibonacci, and this Fibonacci was drawn in a 2-day chart. If I have to show you, I'll have to go to 2 days chart, and this is the Fibonacci I have drawn from the 3rd of January 2022 high. And then the beautiful thing called inflation came into play. And this is inflation, and then we drew a line from that inflation high 3rd January 2022, and inflation low, or I would say hope. Marty would not say, Marty would say sort this. Yeah, I would also sort this. So hope low is here. So I drew a Fibonacci from that to that, and then 78.6 is here. And if we go to a daily chart at that 78.6, we saw all buyers out. Why? Because this close is near to the high, and this then this bar is near the resistance. That's why quite dramatically Valinda said all buyers out. So you must have taken that trade. So what we did a sell there at that point. Okay, now to answer the Ben's question, Ben, it seems that it is having a struggle here on the I request Mati also to throw some light after I'm done in 1 minute on this ASX. So this is also buyers out. We have sold it, this one, and there is a possibility it can go down, but at the same time I would say on the same breath that if you take this high minus low, close minus open 50%, Valinder, what is the 50% of this? Can you tell me? Open is 7226 and close is 7371. I'll give you 10 seconds to tell me the midpoint. Valinder, what is the midpoint? Who can tell me? If the open is 7226 and close is 7371, what is the difference? So 371 minus 226, make it 370. 370 minus 225. So it is 145. 145 divided by 272. Add that 72 to this 72, we get 43. So 7 to 7. Did I do the same? No, I did mistake. Where is Valinder? Valinder is sleeping.
Sorry, sir. My mic was mute actually. It's open plus close divided by 2, 7298 actually.
7298. Oh my god, Valinder. I always rely on Valinder's calculation. 7298. So 7298 is the midpoint of, and midpoint is all of a big bar is always a support, like this fellow. This midpoint always a support. Like this midpoint always a support. So this midpoint can always a support. To answer your question, Ben, I would probably wait for a close below, although I have sorted here, but I will probably wait for a close below the 7298 and then low taken out to add to my position. Now Marty, did I what are your thoughts?
Yes, I'm still a bit skeptical. This whole move from the bottom left of your screen up to your red arrow, it's lots of mixed red and green or yellow and green bars. So to me, that just tells me it's some kind of correction, which I will expect in some time to come back down.
Yeah. So will you think that it will go up or it will possibly come down now?
If it goes up, it won't be very far.
Very far. Yeah. 7,500. Yeah. Did I answer your question, Ben?
Yeah, you did. Thank you, Father.
Fantastic, brilliant.
And Marty?
Very good. Anyone having any question on trading before we can all listen to Kerry? No one? So Kerry, can I please request you to take over from now for 1 hour to educate us on our brain, which is designed to protect us by going against us. All right, Kerry.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, good, thank you.
I'm reasonably new with using the Google, so I'm hoping that me with this whole sharing my screen will work.
Absolutely. Go. Are you sharing your screen? Should I? Yeah. Let me stop my. Yeah. We can see your screen, Kerry.
You can see mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
You are an expert in Google.
I'm good with technology. I don't know much about Google though. I'm more of a Web3 kind of girl. Okay, so I'm actually a neuropsychologist. So what I look at is the brain, the mind, and the body, and the combination between everything and how it all works together. Not just psychology. So the brain in itself is actually really important as well. So I thought today, because there's a huge amount of information, and I'm sorry if it gets really boring for anyone, we're looking at the foundation. So basic information. Again, I apologize if anyone's actually knows all of the information that I'm giving.
No one.
The process.
Gary, I'm excited. I don't know anything about that. Please go on.
So the process of thinking and acting, which is definitely very much a psychology and a neurology type process. So what are the influences as well that actually change the way we think and react and things like that? And obviously what you can do to help, because information's great, but not much good if you don't know what to do about it. So to start with, the basic information. So we have two hemispheres of our brain. We have the right side, the left side. So the right side is more of the artistic side of things. It has that, intuitive side, the awareness of where we are in space, imagination, emotion, those sorts of things. It looks at an overall plan, so the end result, not as much the details to get there. The left side is very much the logical analysis, memorizing things, memory, those sorts of things, rules. So obviously for trading and things like that, although we like this right side, we generally prefer a lot more of the left side, but we like a balance in between. So this over here is to the left is actually a new MRI scan of the brain that shows a left dominance for a person. Yeah, so there's more of the left side. They're interested in where they actually sit, whether they are dominant either side or whether they're somebody who actually fits nicely in the middle. I can send them out if people are interested.
Just 1 second, Kerry, just to confirm. Everyone can hear and see Kerry's screen? Yeah, everyone is.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Sorry, Kerry, continue.
No, you're right. So the lobes of the brain. So we have the two hemispheres, but then we also have lobes within the brain as well. So sections. They all do different things. So we have the front, which is for movement, reasoning, behavior, memory, personality, those sorts of things. It's where our general thinking, decision making, rational part comes from. We have the parietal lobe, which is trying to integrate all the information that we get together and putting it into language and putting it into a process that you can use. With the occipital lobe, that's actually our vision. So it's how we understand what we see, those sorts of things, being able to write and read, those sorts of things. And then we have the cerebellum. So the cerebellum is the natural instinctual behaviors. So, you know, that people say, if you learn to ride a bike, you'll always know how to ride a bike. That's because it goes to the cerebellum and it just knows how to do things after a while. It's, yeah, the automatic. The temporal lobe is hearing, long-term memory, speech, behavior, all those sorts of things. It's all very complicated and it all works together in a whole heap of different ways. So I'm sorry if this is confusing because it's hard to do something in a linear way that doesn't actually work in a linear way. And that's another one of the scans. The new MRI scans, that actually shows the lobes of the brain and the cerebellum down the bottom. So neurotransmitters. So the neurotransmitters are the chemicals that our brain uses to transport messages, to create the actual behaviors, the functions, the thoughts, things like that. So chemicals move between two sides, and that's what fires the next thing and creates that message to do something. We have the certain things that actually are in our ability to think and act, react, that sort of thing is dopamine, which is one of the really big significant ones. Then we have the serotonin, which is your mood, things like that. It's also very significant, but and acetylcholine, dopamine and acetylcholine work very closely together. And then we have norepinephrine, which is another one of those things. It's a sort of a offshoot of adrenaline. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. It's when you're an expert at something, it's, or when you know something, it's hard to know when you've gone too quick.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so we also have structures within our brain that is as an evolutionary point. So for everybody, all living organisms have, or animals say, have this part of the brain. It's actually called the hindbrain, and it's what's responsible for the most instinctual fight or flight basic behaviors. Looking after yourself, that's it. Then we have the midbrain, or the mammalian brain, which is the limbic system, which is emotion, behavior, memories, things like that. And then we have the cortex. So the cortex is actually the only thing, only humans have the cortex, or primates. So some of the monkeys, that sort of thing. Dogs and some of the other mammals actually have the limbic system as well, but not everybody. But yeah, we are the only ones that actually have the cortex, which is responsible for the actual thinking itself. So yep, the cortex, there you go. The planning, abstract.
Katie, there is a question from Marty.
Yep.
And he's asking, if you have low dopamine levels, do we learn easier and retain information easier?
Oh, he's ahead of me. I'm getting to that, but that's okay. There is a little bit of information to go before we get there, because okay. Okay, so here we are. Structures within the brain for thinking and reacting. So if we're simply reacting, we're looking at that most primitive brain. So we look at the brainstem, which is where the information comes in. That is actually where serotonin and a few other things are produced. And the thalamus, so it comes into the thalamus, which is like the switchboard. It sends information everywhere. The thalamus sends things to the amygdala. So the amygdala, I think, Partha's talked about the amygdala with the hijack and everything. So that's the emotional sort of area. The hippocampus, that's the memory and things that we remember, behaviors, emotions. The hypothalamus, because Partha's also talked about the HPA axis, and the pituitary gland, which is also included in that as well. And the cerebellum, again, is our automatic reactions and our behaviors that we know will work when something goes wrong. And the prefrontal cortex, which is our thinking, logic, analysis, that sort of thing. So looking at the different areas. So here's what we say the survival state is the brainstem. That's what just looks after us. The amygdala is one of the parts where fight and flight is initially established. It's where the threat is considered and the information is processed. The hippocampus is actually where the information is stored. It's memories, so long-term memory, that's emotions, so emotions of situations in particular. So that, say, how to behave at a wedding is different to how to behave at a funeral. So that's all done in the hippocampus. The thalamus, as I said, takes all the information and sends it to wherever it needs to go to. The hypothalamus is what stimulates the production of the two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, which then is also a part of the fight or flight. Prefrontal cortex is that thinking, and the pituitary gland, which is also the adrenaline. So the actual process that we go through. So the information goes to the thalamus. The thalamus actually sends the information to the amygdala and to the cortex at the same time. But it takes longer to get to the cortex than it does to get to the amygdala. So the amygdala has time to check with the hippocampus to see what's happened in the past, and it has time to then shut down the information getting to the prefrontal cortex which then changes whether we act instinctually, automatically, or whether we have to think about it. It's considered to be about a 6-second delay, which seems to be quite a bit.
Absolutely.
If the amygdala decides that there's not a huge threat to our survival, that sort of thing, then it will actually allow the information to go to the prefrontal cortex, and it will incorporate everything and allow us or the prefrontal cortex to decide what sort of behavior to do, that sort of thing, and then it feeds back down the brainstem and we behave appropriately. So things that can go wrong, and we can end up like fighting the bull rather than having a great time and winning lots of money, or getting lots of money and doing the right thing. So
that's a very good demonstration.
Yeah. So obviously, I know that Partha has talked about the amygdala hijack and fight or flight, or freeze, which is one that most people forget. There is actually also called joy in there, which is a very strange thing to call it. It's that nervous laughter, that anxiety that comes. Yeah, I suppose a lot of teenagers do it. You know, they get in trouble and they start laughing. As a parent, you want to kill them. Then you've got the HPA axis dysfunction, which I know that you've also touched on as well. Imbalance in neurotransmitters, which is exactly what Marty asked about. And past experiences and memories. The top-down, bottom-up thinking, which I don't know if anyone's actually heard of before. Conscious and unconscious thoughts and actions, which is very complicated, but you know, we'll get to that, but I don't think we'll get to that today. Unrealistic expectations and goals that people have, which is a really big trap that people fall into. And beliefs about yourself. We generally have some core beliefs about ourselves that come from our history, and they can be the difference between success and failure. So the amygdala hijack. So like our little dude over here who's walked straight past everything because he's got so much on his mind. So what happens again is the messages go in to the thalamus. It ends up going to the amygdala. The amygdala checks with the hippocampus, which things don't look like they're pointing in the right direction there, but anyway. And with the two of them, they then decide whether there is a threat, whether they need to, what sort of action they need to do. And then when they've decided that there is a threat, it actually completely shuts out the prefrontal cortex. They don't care what the prefrontal cortex thinks, it's just irrelevant. It then reacts completely instinctually. It's threat. What do I need to do to get over that threat? Which can be really, really difficult, especially when you're trying to achieve what you guys are all trying to achieve.
This is a tremendous demonstration on that. My goodness, beautiful.
As long as I'm not going too fast for people, that's
You are
fine.
absolutely in the right pace, right, guys? Absolutely.
Definitely.
So
Yes.
It's perfect.
So when we look at the HPA axis, the dysfunction of it, what happens is the hypothalamus tells the pituitary gland, well, the amygdala tells the hypothalamus that there's a threat. The pituitary gland then tells our adrenal glands to create adrenaline and cortisol. And cortisol is a really big issue for a lot of people these days. And cortisol is great when it's in moderation, but it can cause a lot of issues if it's not held in check. That is the extreme fight and flight that people go through when they have anxiety issues. It's generally cortisol and things that are out of whack there. Okay. Neurotransmitters, here we go. So yes, the neurotransmitters imbalance can change a lot of things. So the things that are most likely to change the imbalance in our neurotransmitters or the chemicals. So we have genetics. Just generally, genetics can be an issue and create imbalances just on their own. Brain overload. I don't know if anyone's just done that whole, oh my God, I can't handle anything anymore. I'm just going to shut down. And the senses, sometimes when you get a sensory overload, that is also what happens. So when you've been staring at a screen for too long, or you've been looking for something for too long, or the kids are screaming and the vacuum's on, the television's on, everything's on, and your head just wants to explode. So neurodiversity, I don't know if people know what neurodiversity, but that's generally like your autism, ADHD, things like that. That's actually a really big cause of an imbalance in dopamine and serotonin. Medication, any sort of medication, can definitely cause changes in our brain chemistry. Medication can create a balance for ADHD, but it can create an imbalance for other people. We have medical conditions. So obviously, different medical conditions can create different things. Diabetes can create issues with insulin, which then creates issues within the brain as well. Any number of medical conditions, even chronic pain, can change how the rest of our neurotransmitters work. Mental health, when you look at things like depression and anxiety, they all affect serotonin. You've got conditions that affect muscle movement, things like that. They affect acetylcholine and all sorts of different neurotransmitters. So it's obviously important to get them under control. Our diet, I like my little sloth there. Our diet is a terrible thing, and it increases the chances of the imbalance. For some people, sugar and carbohydrates can actually be more addictive than cocaine. If you have too many complex carbohydrates, too much sugar, it can actually change your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels, which is why a lot of people, when they get depressed, they crave chocolate, things like that.
This fellow is only eating breads.
Pardon me?
This fellow is only taking breads. So a lot of carbohydrates.
And you're in...
Sorry, what is the fifth one, Kerry? I missed after the medicine.
So diet.
No, before diet and before depression.
Oh, it was mental health.
Mental health, yeah.
Yep, mental health. So different conditions. So even when you talk about people with say bipolar or all sorts of different things that can actually affect, even menopause affects our neurotransmitters, and it affects the way we digest food and what comes from that food, all those sorts of things.
Thank you.
One of the interesting things that most people don't know, which is actually really, really interesting, is how our environment changes, the way our brain works and our neurotransmitters. So if it's hot weather, so if you have a heat wave, your dopamine levels are affected. And depending on who you are and what you have genetically, depends on whether your dopamine levels go up or down. It can even change with barometric pressure when a storm comes. I think a lot of people know about, when a storm happens and, it's dreary weather, people get depressed and they get down. All of those things are actually real. They actually are physiologically correct. Your environment does have a lot to do with how your brain works and the chemicals inside your body.
Absolutely brilliant.
All right, so emotions and our feelings and past experience, memories, that sort of thing. So here we are, here's our memories and our learning. So yes, our neurotransmitters are the things that help with learning, but it's the neurotransmitters and these two, the amygdala and the hippocampus. They are what is responsible for learning. So if you don't have the good combination of the hippocampus, amygdala, dopamine, and acetylcholine, then yeah, you don't learn very well. It's hard to retain information. It's our long-term memory, our unconscious memory. So a lot of people with, say, ADHD and autism and things like that, this is an issue that they have, the amygdala and the hippocampus and the dopamine, and that is a really big issue, which is why they have such a bad memory. So past experience obviously definitely affects our feelings and our emotions. So our emotions are the physiological response we have to something. The way our body reacts when we're happy, the way our body reacts when we're afraid. Our feelings are actually a learned response. So our feelings are what we're actually afraid of. So I can, say, be surprised when a huge dog runs towards me, but I can feel happy about it because I love dogs and I've had a really big dog, so I'm fine with it. But somebody in the past may actually have had a bad experience with dogs, so they're still surprised, but they've had fear instead of happy. So the amygdala and the hippocampus work together to create the memories of those emotional events. Does that make sense to everyone so far?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yep.
Yes, Kerry.
Yes.
Okay. So when I know that everyone has heard of the fear of missing out and the fear of losing money and things like that, and this is where all of this comes in. We have that, that the skeleton in the closet, or that thing that's hanging over our shoulder telling us in the past of all of the things that have happened that have turned out badly, and how we shouldn't trust certain things that we think because things have worked out badly in the past. So that's where the amygdala and the hippocampus come in. I don't know if anyone's heard of classical conditioning and operant conditioning. They are, so Pavlov's dog, that was an experiment that was done. And he taught the dog that when a bell rang, that food was coming, and the dog started salivating, getting ready for the food. And eventually he was able to just ring the bell, and the dog would instantly start salivating because it expected food, but it was on an unconscious level.
Pavlov experiment, yeah.
Yep. Operant conditioning is where you know that you have to do a behavior to be able to get the reward. So with, say, Pavlov in the same instance, the dog then learnt to press a button. So it knew that if the bell rang, it pressed a button and then the food came. Whereas if it didn't press the button, the food wouldn't be there. So it knew that it actually had to do something to actually get its reward. And that can only come from that learned experience, that past experience. And then, of course, we have the risk and reward. With the operant conditioning comes the determination whether how much risk we take as to how much reward. It has, the negative and positive reinforcement, things like that teach you that it's okay to fail sometimes. That's how you learn. when to take the risk, when not to take the risk, that sort of thing. So, what can cause unhelpful thoughts? Those things that stop you from moving forward and getting the right thing. So obviously, again, it's those little demons that we have hiding behind us that are telling us, you know, all these bad things. Yeah, my daughters actually call it the two sides of their brain are fighting. So one side's telling him facts and the other side's just telling him, you know, some sort of story that sounds interesting. And unfortunately, our brain likes interesting, so it goes for the interesting more so. When your brain has too many tabs open, I think most people these days know what it's like when you've got too much going on. There's too much going on, and eventually something's going to give, and your brain just can't handle it, and you shut down. Cognitive dissonance. So that's another thing that I'm not quite sure whether a lot of people have heard of. So cognitive dissonance is when you would rather hear the lie than hear a truth that just isn't really what you want to hear. So you would rather just go with whatever you know, regardless of whether it's going to work or not, rather than realizing that something's going to be uncomfortable because it's not what you think and it's not what you know. You actually have to decide or figure out that you don't know everything and you don't know the best. Somebody else may know better. Then the top down, bottom up thinking, which I think Ben has actually said that he's heard of before, which is people think from the cortex down, so it's more logical, whereas some people think from the brainstem up, which is more of an emotional reaction. Then the hierarchy of needs. I think a lot of people have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's changed over time because things have changed over time. One of the biggest things that has actually changed is down the bottom in safety and physiological needs. Money has actually become incorporated into that. In our way of life now, money is seen as an essential just to actually, well, it is an essential just to be able to keep those physiological needs met, which means that money is really right down the bottom, whereas it sort of wasn't before. And that's why there's that fear of losing money, because it's that threat to our very way of living, our existence. So it's also now sectioned into different groups. So our deficiency needs are the ones that we have to survive. They're the things that we need. So we need to belong. We need to feel safe. We need to feel accepted and to feel good about ourselves. And they're traps that we can fall into by not being happy, I suppose, to make mistakes. We get very down on ourselves when we make mistakes because we then see that we actually lose esteem, we lose our belonging, and we lose our safety. And obviously our physiological needs because we've got no money to buy the things. And our conditioning again. You know, sometimes that automatic classical conditioning that we've given ourselves, that unconscious behavior, is the thing that is causing us the most issue. And Partha has actually mentioned before unconscious, the unconscious trading.
Unconscious competency, yeah.
That's the one, and incompetence. And that's what we're looking at. We need to start looking at whether with operant conditioning more so than classical, because operant still does become unconscious, but we realize that there are certain things that we have to do to be able to achieve those things. And they just themselves become an instinct to do. And don't wear too many hats. I think that's a thing that most people fall into is they try and do too many things. They try and be too many things. And, one thing at a time or a couple of things at a time, because you'll crumble. You can't handle it. Nobody can handle it. So the top down, bottom up thinking is obviously whether you're going to fight the bull or whether you're going to ride it and be happy. The bottom up is the automatic response. With that, you react to external motivations. So you don't actually do anything willingly, you just sort of wait for something to happen and then you just jump on it. It's only driven by survival instinct. There's no proactive, I suppose, it's only reactive. And it doesn't check with the cortex until after it's active. So if you walk out in front of a bus, you'll instantly step back. And then you'll go, wow, I could have got hit by that bus and could have killed me. And your cortex will tell you, yeah, good choice. But if you're a superhero, you'll be like, didn't matter, I'll be right. Next time I'll just let it see what happens. Whereas top down, it's that thoughtful and analytical behavior. It's the thing that wants to stop and think before it does anything. The motivation is personal. It's the type of thing that people want to do. It's not something that they need to do for their survival. It's just that thing that they want to do, they want to plod along. It actually uses the combination of the whole brain. And because it does that, it allows for the learning. It takes on the negative and the positive, and it learns from that what's good, what's bad, what to do, what not to do, those sorts of things. And that's the balanced memories. So, things that you can do. These are the things that I love doing. So, obviously, a better diet. Now, it doesn't matter that you have some junk food. Everyone has some junk food, but, we need to try and keep the balance. I know, I develop the virtual reality worlds in the metaverse. So I know how easy it is to just get caught up in focusing on what you're doing and forgetting to go and eat, or you just grab something really quick and it's bad. You need to develop new memories. I call it developing a new past. Because with every new thing that you do, you're developing another past that you can draw on for your future decisions. Checklists. I love checklists. I live by checklists. So you can use not only a checklist for, your actual trading itself to make sure you're doing everything right, but you can also use a checklist to sit and make sure before you start trading, okay, where am I at? Because you need to figure out where you're at before you sit down and before you start doing things. If you're on a mission to make lots of money because you've had a bad day and you want to quit work, then it's likely that you're going to make bad, rash decisions. So, a checklist to make sure that you're in the right frame of mind, or at least to be able to figure out what frame of mind you're in. Journals. I love journals too. Writing down the things that have worked, the things that haven't worked. You can look back, especially when you're feeling down and you're feeling depressed and you're feeling like nothing's working. You can actually go back then and look at the successes you've had, the failures, the balance that you have of the pluses and the minuses, and the things that maybe you've done wrong, or the things that you may have been able to do better to be able to compensate for those things. When you are in a down place, depression, it is impossible to think of positive things. Practice. Everyone has to practice. The only way you can create new memories is by practicing. You cannot practice something that you've never done or you haven't done very often. You have to keep practicing. That is a part of the memory. That's a part of the learning, is to just keep practicing and asking for help if you don't know. Asking the people who do know for the help. Don't be afraid. There's that ego thing. It's not bad to ask for help. It's not bad to make mistakes. It's not bad to practice. It's good. Being aware of your mood as well is really, really important. Knowing where you are, knowing how you're feeling. You just had a fight with somebody. That's probably not the best time to actually go and do something. It's your dopamine, it's your serotonin, it's all your neurotransmitters. Taking it slow. There is no rush. Well, sometimes there is a rush. I got caught with that. And I lost a lot of money because I was a little bit too slow. But in saying that, it was a lesson learned for me. And that is the most important thing, that you take it as just a lesson learned. But take your time. Make sure that you are taking things and thinking about things, analyzing things. Make sure you're doing the right way. That's where your checklist comes in. Stop. Use your checklist until it becomes unconscious and make sure that it's right. Don't spend more than you can afford. That's a really huge thing as well. A lot of people want to make it big, rich, quick, and they use more than they can afford, and then they end up in a position where they've got no money to pay their bills, or their mortgage is due and they can't pay it. And obviously that's not the best place to be. Environment, again, being aware of what's happening around you, being aware of, not just where you are yourself, but, the weather, what's happening, what is going on. Can you change things? What can you change? And not fighting success. That one down there is to let yourself be successful. Don't challenge it. It is actually, I know from myself that it is actually quite frightening to be successful, because there is so much responsibility that feels like it comes from that. People expect it more, you expect it more. So when you do fail, it actually feels worse than if, you fail anyway. A lot of people say that they would rather not try than to try and fail. And you can't control everything. Little dude's trying to push up his little arrow there. It doesn't matter what you do. You cannot will the market or anything else to do what you want it to do. It doesn't work. I think, if people could will things to happen in their favor, everyone would be much happier. And I don't know, I just like the bear and the bull. They're cool. So I'm actually a really, really big fan of Viktor Frankl. I don't know if anyone else has heard of him. He developed a type of psychology that's built around meaning and a person's ability to survive anything based on meaning, as long as they have purpose. And these are two of the quotes that have been really significant for me in the past. And, looking at, that stimulus and response, there is a space between what happens and how we react, and that is our choice to make. We can't blame anyone else. That is our choice to stop and think about things before we do it, and then we have to take responsibility for that. And then it's also, he was in Auschwitz, and he lost his family in Auschwitz. He was the only survivor. And he learned from the people around him his type of psychology. And he was amazed by the fact that regardless of what was happening around them and what was happening to them, people just kept going. And it was the choices that they made and their choice and their attitude that determined where they went. And it is a really big thing that most people need to listen to, is that it is your choice, and that's the only thing that you can rely on. And if it's good or if it's bad, it's just a choice, and it's a learning experience. And you really can't do anything more than that. So that is all from me, and I hope everything was understandable. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions to Kerry, please. Don't suffer.
Thanks, Kerry. I've got a question.
Mhm.
So obviously our mind does a lot, and it guides us on what we should be doing. But is there any way to help it? Like, can we change our behavior? Is there any, I mean, like relaxation or meditation, does that play part in changing the way we behave?
Absolutely. There was a lot to go through. So it is the plan for me to do another one on top of this one. So maybe in January doing a bit more. But definitely self-care is a really, really big thing. Self-care is really, really important. It's getting out. It's doing different things. You need to cover all sorts of things. Yeah, I know, as adults, parents, some of us, we forget that we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to take that time to just look after ourselves for a little while. Whether it be meditation, some people can't do meditation, but I believe, I call it the nothing box. Ben taught me about the nothing box. There is a way of actually achieving thinking about nothing.
I mean, for me, it's like, watching Netflix. Like, that just switches my mind away from trading or, and most recently I've been attending, stretch classes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Laughing is actually surprisingly one of the biggest benefits that I do often say to people, that when you are feeling down or when you're feeling overwhelmed, laugh. Think of something that is guaranteed to make you laugh, and think of it, because laughter actually changes the neurotransmitters. It actually will change your dopamine, it will change your serotonin, it can trick your brain into thinking that you feel so much better. So laughter, there is actually laughter yoga as well these days. But I have the nothing box things. I come home from work and I do a few things, and children just do not come near me. It's like that. You will not talk to me. I have this space. Everyone needs that. But I will, get into that in a different way a bit later if, people would like me to do another one. Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions to Kerry, please?
Excuse me, Kerry. Just one question. Maybe it's a very simple question, but it is a question I would like to ask.
Sure.
What is the best way to erase the bad memories from childhood or any experience in life?
That is a tricky one. Like I said, I always believe in creating a new past. So with every better event that happens, you are creating a new past. I'm actually also a clinical hypnotherapist. So there's definitely...
It means like NLP, something like that? Or?
No, well, I've done some NLP, but just, because I'm that psychologist as well. I'm actually properly a clinical hypnotherapist with modern hypnotherapy, which is a bit different from the traditional hypnotherapy that most people think of.
Okay.
But it's breaking down the barrier between the conscious and the unconscious, and allowing your conscious mind to correct the mistakes from that it may be thinking. There are a number of really, really good treatments for bad past experiences. You can do the cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps with challenging thoughts. But if you're not at that point, then there's things like EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization regression, which is really, really successful as well. I really like the hypnotherapy because it actually allows you to use it however you want to in your life in particular and your way of thinking, because only you know what's in your mind. I think that the best way is just in general everyday life is to make a new history, make a new past, and remind yourself all the time of the new past and not your old past.
Okay.
And Shri, I want to add that I know things happen, right? In everyday life. But if something happened in childhood, anything, but we have no control on that, right?
Yeah.
So whatever happened into the past, we have no control. So just
Yep.
always try to that's what I'm following. And I'm trying to do one right thing every day, which helping me out to even get rid of from, like, we cannot get rid of from our past or something, but yeah, like I'm not in those like deep thinkings anymore. So it's helping me.
Yep. And it's with every good thing that happens, with every correct decision that you do, with everything, with every day that you make a conscious effort to not let it control you, or when it doesn't come into your mind, then that is a new day and a new day in history. And yeah, you need to, it is easier said than done, definitely. It's easy to sit here and say this is what you need to do. I can honestly say that I have been through some very, very difficult things myself. And I don't know if you're a reading person, I don't know what you are, but I actually did find Viktor Frankl really, really beneficial. He talks about how suffering is a good thing and how you can use that to become a better person and to become more.
Sorry, I missed it. Is it a person or is it a book or something?
The book is actually Man's Search for Meaning. But it is, Viktor Frankl, but it's Man's Search for Meaning. And it tells about his time in Auschwitz and the things that he found from that, and the things that, there was a lot of logic and a lot of quotes and a lot of things even that we think of now. So, a lot of people, sorry?
All right, no, that's good.
A lot of people think of, the different things, like, I think the more you think about something, the more that's going to happen. That is actually from Viktor Frankl. There's a lot of things that we do that actually are, and we believe and we say that actually are from him already. But yeah, if you have a look, maybe, you might get something out of it that moving forward.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger is one of his sayings too, isn't it, Kerry?
Yeah. Yes, it is. He also, there's a lot of them, but one of the biggest ones I also found was helpful was that you will have surges forward, and then you will have time of consolidation, because you can't have surges forward all the time.
Just to extend Sri, what Sri asked Kerry, I have one simple question. For example, related to trading, supposing a person has failed, he has traded 100 times and he has failed, for example, 60 times. So my
Yep.
question is, how many times he has to create the new past or the new memory and practice? Is it 60 or 30 or 90, or is there a number or not a number?
There's not a number. It's whether it's more about learning. It's that, like the keeping of a journal. Like, if you've failed 60 times, you probably haven't learnt your lesson. You probably need to either keep a journal or look back on it, and look at what are the trends that you are doing that are leading to those failures, or those lessons, because everything is a lesson, whether it be good, whether it be bad, it's all a lesson. And I think it's all good regardless. I had an accident, and for me, I'm now at a point where I'm actually glad that accident happened, and I would make the same choices simply because I am where I am now. And it's different to where I was before, but it's definitely better for me.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I mean, if anyone wants to talk to me outside of this, then I'm more than happy to. If anyone wants any more information on anything, I'm more than happy to provide anything. Just let me know.
Brilliant. We'll in touch. We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any last questions to Kerry, please?
Great session, actually. Great session. A lot to go over again and again. Partha, I hope you have the recording of this session.
Yes.
And go over it. Yeah.
We do have.
That will be great.
Yeah.
It's a great session. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Any other question?
I have a bit of a question.
Martin?
So with my analysis, it takes me some time to come up with a decision. So I put a lot of effort into my analysis, and then I might get 3 or 4 trades wrong in a row, or just a break even. So with the amount of effort that gets put into taking those trades and not seeing much of a result, how can you control or get control of the amygdala or hippocampus, and to say, as you say, as create a new past and see it as a positive, when what I do is, the only thing I can do is look at my journal throughout the month and just look at the equity curves there, and that's the only thing that keeps me going. Is there anything else I can do?
I think one of the biggest things is understanding that you can't control it. Sometimes just things happen, and sometimes that is the only lesson that you can take. Things is that sometimes just things happen. It's sometimes we can overthink things. Sometimes if you've been doing something for a really long time and you don't have that, you don't listen to that unconscious part of you, and you start questioning things too much, that is when you start making mistakes. Sometimes you do need to just take a breath and actually trust yourself. You've been doing this for a long time. You're a part of all of this process. I'm sure you have enough of a success, and it should be enough unconscious that you can just take a breath and maybe not think so much. You know what you need to do. Just take that step back and don't let the anxiety, don't let that downward thinking, the bottom up thinking, take over. You having the particular, whether it be a checklist or whatever, when you start getting that anxiety from the amygdala, your prefrontal cortex stops working. So to actually have perhaps the checklist actually can stop your amygdala and that from taking over, because you're actually stopping and actually allowing your cortex to start working first. A lot of the things that happen in trading aren't just in trading. There are things that are happening in people's lives that create the issue. You know, a person who is perhaps having financial difficulties or has a lot of responsibilities, they're going to be more likely to be stressed about losing money than somebody who has no other responsibilities and no issues. So it's using skills outside of this as well. Does that
Well
help?
said. Yeah, well said. I don't know why, but I do still struggle to see the positives in a trade that just flat, you know, like doesn't make money, doesn't lose money. I see it as a negative thing for some reason. That's all.
Yep. Well, it takes time, and you know, it's called rewiring. How it's the same thing, but it's how you see it that makes the difference. You know, I think I frustrate everybody with bad things happen, and I go, oh well, you know, at least it's not this. I got, you know, diagnosed with cancer, and it was like, oh well, at least it's not a bad cancer. Like, so you know, there are things that it really, you've got to find a positive somewhere in it, and it's not accepting and not acknowledging the negative. It's a matter of making sure you find the positive in it and working with that positive. Like it's really difficult because there's a lot of aspects that may be contributing to that outside of this. So yeah, I'm more than happy to talk to you and go through it a little bit more with everything that's happening, if you want to. But yeah, it's difficult when you don't have a full picture of what's going on and why that may be affecting and having that roll-on effect.
Well, thanks for the insights.
No problems.
With this, I think I must thank Kerry on all of us, from all of us, and especially from NP Financials. Kerry, do believe in what I say now is your presentation is probably better than, I have not read that book Search for Meaning, but what we learned in last 1 hour is probably would not have got it from the Search for Meaning from your mentor Viktor Frankl. You have so well presented with live pictures in your presentation. It was so lively, and you have so well related trading with psychology and brain. I have never, in my last 13-15 years of reading through for more than 600 books, I have never gone through this what you demonstrated in 1 hour. So for that, thank you, really thank from all of us, and it's a great session, Kerry. Really appreciate, and definitely would be listening to you in our next class on January the 8th, I think. We think with that, I thank all of you for your time and asking brilliant questions and a wonderful and tremendous powerful presentation from Kerry. Thanks a ton. Bye for now.
See ya. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye bye, everyone.